One of the most fascinating things from a psychology standpoint that has occurred on the internet in the last, I'd say, 15 to 20 years has been this argument between flat earth folks and globe earth folks, as if any conclusion would change anything in your normal everyday life. However, watching all of the arguments and seeing them go back and forth, they miss the most obvious one. Both of them could either prove or disprove categorically the other one by just doing one test. What is that test? What is that thing that would prove it or disprove it? Well, it's real simple. Dig a hole. Now, flat earthers would say that, well, no matter what angle you began digging a hole in the earth, you would never resurface, not without changing directions. Meaning that you would have to get down to a certain level, and if you wanted to come back up, you would have to then flatten out and then change directions, and there would be multiple bends in the hole that you dug, and it would always either result in a V or U shape. You'd have to go down so far and then come back up. You could never dig from one side of flat Earth to the other side of flat Earth. Because why? Well, it's flat. They don't necessarily have an explanation for what is directly below them. But if you're a globe Earth believer, you would know that, well, because we're a globe, all you would have to do to say, start digging a hole and come up in your neighbor's yard, is dig that hole at a very shallow angle. Now, let's say you wanted to come out a mile away. You would never have to change the direction of digging. You would just have to set that shallow angle, begin digging, and eventually you would be beneath the earth. And then because you're digging through the side of a globe, you would eventually come out the other side. The steeper the angle, the farther it would be that you would come out. In fact, there's a tool that you can find on the internet. It's from freemaptools.com, Tunnel to the Other Side of the Earth. It's not hard to find. You can move this map around, and it'll show you exactly what's on the other side of the globe. So this would be kind of a head-scratcher for globe folks, because they're like, wow, really? We can dig a hole, and as long as we keep the angle shallow enough, we could enter the earth at one point, come out another, and never change directions whatsoever. And those who believe in flat earth would say, well, all holes dug must have a U or a V shape if they're going to have an entrance and an exit. Now go test the theory. It's just as simple as digging a hole. That's all you'd have to do. And that would necessarily apply with the oceans as well. If we're on a globe Earth, then at some point you would be able to sail a straight line from the surface of one side to the surface of the other and never change pitch. Let's say there's a submarine on the surface of flat Earth. Well, to dive, you would have to change pitch, wouldn't you? To go down, and then you would have to change pitch again to come back up. But on a globe Earth, you could theoretically, feasibly, draw a straight line between the surface at one point in the ocean and a surface at the other point, and then just sail a straight line. You would go beneath the surface for a time. Your depth would be the greatest at the halfway point, and then you would slowly start to surface again, never having changed pitch whatsoever. It's kind of an interesting argument. But why do I bring this up? What does this have to do with anything that we've been talking about? Well, when we look at images in Antarctica, there's a great many things we can't explain. This is one of them. This is one of the big ones. It's a huge shadow that they forgot to erase of a castle. But for me, the primary evidence that there is something going on in Antarctica is this find right here. And it's incredibly simple. Actually, that's the wrong one. Hold on. We'll get back to that one. It's just as important. It's more evidence of the same thing. It's a doorway. Now, this doorway goes right through the ice sheet and goes right beneath, and nobody knows who created this. There is no evidence anywhere that this was created from the surface to below. It looks very much like it was created from below to the surface, because there is no evidence anywhere around here of any kind of excavation or any kind of human activity. And it is not just a random hole. When you look closely at this, you can see the platform right here is perfect. It's 90 degrees. The sides are equidistant, and we're going to go ahead and measure this to give you an idea of how big this is. We've covered this before, but I think it goes to the same argument. It's a straight line tunnel directly below the ice sheet that was created from below. Real quick. The opening is about 23 feet across. That's a 2-lane highway. The height, well, ballpark it looks like it's about 44 feet tall. So you could get a very, very large craft through here. You could likely fly a Cessna right into this. It looks like the width here, about 25 feet. So yeah, you could fly a small plane in and out of this with no problem. And once again, it's very clear. The evidence is very clear. It was created from beneath the ice surface. Now, who would do that? You see, you look up here and you see these giant cracks and crevasses, and they're all uneven. And of course, this is exactly what you would expect. But what we're seeing over here is not just a crack, not just a crevasse. It's a giant tunnel with a very flat platform going in that was created not from the surface, but from below. In fact, there's another one not very far away. And I wonder sometimes if they're connected. Zero evidence anywhere on the surface of any kind of excavation whatsoever. Can you explain? Let's measure this one. Once again, about 24, about 25 feet across, and about 45 feet tall. Literally exactly the same size on two different sides of Antarctica, with zero evidence of any kind of excavation on the outside created from below. If that isn't evidence enough that something is going on underneath the ice sheet that is not just volcanic, I don't know what else would be. And there are these entrances all over the place. You just got to know where to look. It takes a great deal of time to find them. This was another one. Now this one's, I believe, is a little bit larger. Let's measure this. Yep, this one's about 60 feet across and about 118 feet tall. So obviously designed for a much larger craft. And you can also see, here's the opening. Here's a nice big flat platform right outside of it. If any of that can be explained by some type of natural force, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear science explain it. But once again, this was one of our very first finds. And I have yet to have a scientist or a naysayer or a skeptic or anyone else come to me when I give them these, and I'll give you these coordinates. You can go find it, Google Earth Pro for yourself. Explain what this is. What is this a shadow of? Is this a mountain? Is this what mountains look like? Do they have trapezoid shapes like this with little equidistant triangles all over? Is this what mountains and ridges is how they naturally form? And I really think it's an excellent question that goes to this exact thing. Simply go dig a hole. Anybody can dig a hole. And if you believe in a globe Earth, a shallow enough hole, dug at a shallow enough angle, will be nothing but a straight line that will enter the Earth and then come back out of the Earth at some other point, and you'll be able to look straight through. You'll be able to look straight through, and you will never have to change direction. You'll never have to dig down and then come back up again. You would only have to do that on a flat Earth. And if you're on a flat Earth, and this is what you believe, any angle downward, no matter what, will result in never returning to the surface unless you change direction. So all holes must either have a V or a U shape to them to return to the surface. And it's simple, easy, and provable. So, same thing, by the way, with the submarine argument. The submarine on the surface of the ocean over here should be able to sail a straight line, submerging, reaching a certain depth, and then coming back out onto the surface again, never having changed pitch, up or down. That should be feasible to do between 2 points in space. And that's basic geometry, and I'll leave it there. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.